Would you like some cake while we're waiting? I am God. And you are
That fool really wanted some cake. Bitch, don't you ever bring dessert to a fight? you didn't know the power of that cake, did you? Hey everyone, support our Patreon, which helps us to continue bringing you our live streams, videos, and podcasts while bringing you new content such as exclusive live streams and animated shorts. Kids really do everything, man. I mean, no offense to the parents out there or anything, but you know, if there's a while where you be like, yeah, you know, goddamn, I can't do nothing because these kids around here. I love them, but shit, they crapping my stuff. You know, now, you know, I mean, for the average parent out there, you think like, all right, I don't need to be out in them streets partying anyway. You know, I'm too old to be doing all this other shit anyway. It's time for me to grow up and be a responsible adult, be a responsible parent. But that's a different thing with superheroes. You would think after saving the world numerous times, that would instill some good values in your children. No, just like the preacher's kid.
Just like trust fund babies.
Just like trust fund babies. You know, you did all this good stuff. You're responsible. You brought them up to be right, and they out there up. It never fails. Preacher's kid out there everything. Out there doing all kind of drugs and alcohol. You know, you probably, you went to college, you got a PhD. Your kid's stupid as hell. Dumb as fuck.
You made all that money, so why do I have to?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so you know what? You were a star athlete. Your son is out there reading comic books and shit.
Why'd you gesture to me? There was a gesture and then there was a turn of the camera.
Oh, man, I meant to put it on the footage right here.
Right, yeah.
I meant to put it on this right here.
I mean, that got a little too real.
Hell no, man. Why'd I do that? I meant to put it on here. You know, they're doing what they're supposed to do as superheroes. They're being responsible. They tried to teach their kids to value life, even for the villains out there. You know, Superman ain't gonna tell his kid, you know, Lex Luthor killed that motherfucker. I always hated him. You know, I can never do it, but you can. You know, Superman's not gonna say that. Superman's gonna say, hey, look, that's a human life, and I don't want you to cross over to being what they are.
Because once you start doing that, it never stops.
It never stops. And the kids say, well, that's what you owe. Value life, man. That's that old shit. We don't. Nah, man. This new generation, we kill. We put that shit on TikTok. we get likes for that. And that's the predicament with the Union, led by the Utopian and his wife. They're like, man, how do we teach these kids something before they go bad, and then we gotta whoop their asses again? That's the situation we have here in Jupiter's Legacy. You know, you got that old code out there. Hey, man, you know, to make the world a better place, we cannot become what they are.
Right. We don't stoop that low.
We don't stoop that low.
They go low, we go high.
Yeah. And the new generation said, you know what? They go low, we stop giving a fuck. Hey, we are efficient. You know, one and done. Get rid of that. Hey, you know what? Punisher. That's
that guy's got some ideas.
Man, how come y'all never like that guy? Y'all always talk shit about him. Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer for Jupiter's Legacy.
You do the right thing, somebody dies. You do the wrong thing, somebody dies.
This is based on, as you saw in the trailer right there, if you paid attention, or you might have missed it if you can't read because it only came up in words right there, but this is from Mark Millar. It's based on his comic here, the same name, Jupiter's Legacy. He's a guy, as you saw, he gave us things that you might recognize, such as Kick-Ass and
The Kingsman.
The Kingsman. And as for this right here, let me just say, man, Netflix, boy, you did it. You did it. I didn't think anyone could do this, but you did it. You made me goddamn tired of superheroes, man. I didn't think I'd ever say those words, but Netflix, you did the unthinkable with this right here. Now, I'm not going in trying to push anybody's opinion. I don't know what everybody feels about this. I was reading in the chat that some of you guys really liked it, so please don't think that I'm trying to go against anybody's opinion of who enjoyed this right here. I'm just going to tell you, with me, as far as Jupiter's Legacy goes, they made me tired of superheroes. Party's over. Take your capes, take them skin tight suits, take your powers and get the fuck out of my house. Right now, you don't have to go home, but you can't fly around here. I don't want you. I'm tired of it, man. Now, to be fair, it could be only because of this right here. I'm not going to be tired of the next superhero thing that comes out. I'm not going to hold this against it. It could only be because I've just been watching superhero stuff consistently.
There's been a lot of it.
For the last, 10 months or something? As far as myself goes, I believe, and it might not matter to some people, but I think that, in my humble opinion, that everything that you've seen here was done much better in all those other shows that we've been watching. It could be just bad timing. A large part of this show right here is based on daddy issues. A large part of this is superhero daddy issues. Yeah. But just 1 week ago, we saw the superhero show with the ultimate daddy issues.
Slow down. Land. I said land. Stop.
And let me just tell you, the kid in that show had way bigger problems than the whiny motherfuckers in this show right here. Way bigger problems. So when you come up here talking about, man, daddy just didn't love me, bullshit. You know what? Daddy beat your ass. Well, I ain't gonna do no spoilers, but your daddy was. I'm tell you what, your daddy was fucking Cosby.
Right.
Again, maybe.
Dr. Huxtable.
Okay, Dr. Huxtable.
There you go.
Old school
Fictional
Cosby
Cosby.
show. Yeah.
Fictional Cosby.
Ward Cleaver.
Not racist Cosby.
Jesus.
Yeah. No, this dude is Cosby right there.
Yeah.
So unless your show is doing something amazing, unless your show is doing something that's fairly new, unless your show is just doing just a better job at telling their narrative, you can't fuck with this right here.
Right.
I mean, that's just what I'm thinking. But you were about to say something, please.
No, it is a timing thing, because had this come out before this whole wave of stuff, it could have easily been like, wow, they're finally paying attention and getting it right. But these things have come out that have been not just better done, but also a lot more poignant or really had powerful statements to make.
I think that's too bad that I have this opinion, because this is a great idea, and it's still an idea. Had it been done, I believe, a different way, it still could have upheld continuing these great superhero shows even after everything we've just seen. Because what you have here basically is you got the Justice League, or Justice League type team, the Union. And they have a code: don't kill. Unless you're in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and apparently you can do whatever the fuck you want.
That's required. That's required on the resume. Do you kill?
Yeah.
Yes, you're on the team.
You're in. Yeah. Welcome aboard. But here, they don't go down to they don't stoop to the hero's level. The kids, however, they're in a different, more dangerous time. And they feel that these crazier times call for more deadly measures.
Yeah, because before the villains were just robbing banks and then surrendering, and they're like, well, now they're killing us, so why are we still trying to save them?
They have manifestos and, ideas. Yeah.
So what went wrong for me in that area, man? Because I think that was a great thing to have right there, because I think a lot of people are looking at this right now. Some people like me, they're like, Batman, you better kill the Joker, man. But everybody's tired of this shit. Hey, sure, you'll go crazy afterwards, but let's get this motherfucker on the street. Whatever. Go to therapy. You got enough money. What went wrong right here? So the character of the Utopian, played by Josh Duhamel, his kids are terrible characters. Brandon and Chloe, or as I call them, Angsty and Mopey, up in here. Both got their own versions of, Dad, you were never there for me. Shut the fuck. I can't decide which one is. Fuck you. Seriously. First episode, I couldn't stand them, man. I can't decide which one is worse. Chloe got on my nerves immediately. And Chloe, because Chloe, who's a successful model, and she don't want that superhero life. That's actually a good storyline right there. That's a good take. I don't want this no more. But she has to take that level of, Daddy, I was never good for you. We were never good for you, Daddy. You were never there for us. So she's always lashing out. with drugs and alcohol to the point where she's just ruining her own life, ruining her own modeling career.
We're not done yet. It'll help you earn enough to shove up your nose.
She's like, bitch, you know I still got powers, right?
Yeah, I don't know that I'd be saying that.
Yeah, I got powers and I'm coked up right now. You might want to shut the fuck up.
See? Was that so bad?
Fuck.
I hope they snap the picture.
I was about to say,
Yeah, I know.
That cameraman like, tell me you fucking got that.
Got it.
You didn't? I had a car being thrown in my head. I was ducking just like you. She's one of those girls who's always talking about, because she's such a coke fiend. One of the girls always talking about, see, daddy, what you making me do? See, daddy, that shit. Shut the fuck up and go find a fucking pole to dance on or some shit. Might want to hear that. She got on my nerves with that. She's such a cokehead. Like trying to blame her daddy, but she's such a cokehead. She just finds strange substances on the street. And the first thing she does is think like, oh, well, this is like a go up my nose.
Right. All right, I got a credit card. Let's see what happens if I match this up.
Yeah. Oh.
That's glass. Is it?
Well, shit. It's a good thing I got super nostrils. Right? Shit. Anyway, how y'all feeling about this chick?
No, annoying. Well, the thing is that I thought was so lazy because I knew, okay, this is what we're in for. Like the opening of the show when they had, Josh Duhamel come in there with great power, with great. Are you gonna do that whole speech? And he says
Spider-Man.
I'm like,
speech,
okay, well, this just feels kind of lazy unless you're like, oh, we're trying to have fun with it. But then they had the whole setup where I was like, immediately, like the daughter, she's a little psychopath, like how she's acting, everything's like, okay, she's gonna be the troubled one, and they even everything that they did just felt like a half measure. It kind of felt lazy. Like even when it's like, hey kids, even though you just terrified that one youngster and he's traumatized for life, let's go for ice cream. But then he hears something, and it's like if he only got him that ice cream, then everything would be okay. It's just like I don't know. That all felt very lazy, and just it felt like, okay, this is the obvious situation now that we're going to be in. They're going to just have these two kids that you're just going to be annoyed by for the entire show. At least the episodes that I watched.
Yeah, Martin, how you feel about these kids?
They're everything you say. They're whiny and annoying, and that's just how they're supposed to be.
I mean, I don't know if there's a way to write that to where I don't have to be so annoyed by them, but they didn't seem to have anything else to them. Like when these characters are like this, like if you have father issues, you got daddy issues, whatever, at least make me feel like there's something there that you are justified for, or make me like you in some kind of way.
Oh, sure.
Show me some other part of you. My problem with them is that they weren't anything else but.
Right.
There was, I think for writing characters, you should, even when they're annoying, you should have me be annoyed by them, but give me some understanding as to why they are.
Right.
I didn't understand why they are.
No.
It's just like they're just written as is.
A character who whines about, ex-parent, you were never there for me. It only works when you see that parent and they're a fucking deadbeat.
Yeah.
But when you see parents that really do care, and if the only reason your dad is not there is because he's saving the world, but he's trying to be there when he's there,
yeah.
You're like, well, shut the fuck up. A lot of people don't even have this. But I can say, it's not translating to you guys, but in the comics, that was actually sort of the point.
That's intended. Okay.
Well, to that I would say, look, I haven't read the comic, but if that's the point, I would probably dare say that if you got that from the comic, they were probably written better. Because I don't know. Like I said, I only have this to go by.
You're right. You're right.
And I'm looking at it, and I don't know what else to do. I'm just looking at it like,
hey, I understand. That's why I'm not going like, no, man, you're wrong.
No, I don't get that.
I'm just saying, I wasn't as annoyed by it because I know, like the way it's written in the comics, these kids were much, much worse.
I feel nothing for this character. They gave this character, to me, watching this, they gave this
they
character
don't give him a lot to do.
Yeah, he's just boring.
He disappears for long periods.
Poor Brandon over here. He's the paragon. He wants to please daddy so much, but he sucks.
He really does, yeah. He's not very good at being a superhero.
And I think that's interesting. And I thought, when I saw it at the beginning, I was like, all right, because poor Brandon as a paragon, like, they start the show. Because daddy always got to come in and save him. Because they start the show with him getting his ass beat.
Wow, you must be lost or something. Because you're way out of your league here, champ.
Hey.
Look, paragon.
See, like, I was like, man, you just go on somewhere, Can you call your dad? Because this ain't gonna be good for you when he couldn't even think of a comeback. Like, how you gonna beat ass?
Hey.
Like superheroes always work on their witty rhetor, and you know Peter Parker before he goes out, he's always practicing his material in front of the mirror.
Shit talking all the time.
Yeah, shit talking. But hey, no, it's done, man.
Right. Trust me on this one, kid. Just fly away.
Whenever you see security guard doing their mind his
Doing
own business,
Something's coming through a window.
So obvious.
It's been happening in every superhero show that we've seen. You motherfuckers can't have a break.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. ain't got to tell me twice.
I had it under control. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, sure you did, son. Sure you did. Boy, you know they're gonna have a talk later. You know, son, you're not made for this superhero shit. This is not for you.
Just has that sneer on his
Yeah.
face. Like, oh,
You looking at his son right now talking about, you ever thought about trade school? I mean, you're good with your hands.
engineering. It's good. Great degree.
Get a degree in 2 years.
Yeah. You know, you ever thought about being a carpenter or a mechanic? You're good with your hands.
Cosmetology.
He spends the rest of this movie. He never recovers from this shit. He remains in his feelings for the rest of this series. He never gets out of emo mode. Well, every time they open up with him, his eyes are down the floor and always got hair in his eyes. Oh, you were there for me. It's like, you know what? Maybe you fucking cut your hair. You could see something. You could stop getting your ass beat.
Well, I mean, to be fair, his dad is always like, I knew you were gonna fuck up. Man, you were just not doing this. Not even like that's okay, son. It's like, who am I gonna leave the business to? God damn it.
Dad, you never look. Fuck. Dad, you
might as well be Fred Sanford, you big dummy. Get in the truck.
Goddamn idiot. So is that they do a lot of interesting things with the adults. I thought, and this is why I think you probably, and I know you didn't have time, I think you probably would benefit from watching some other episodes.
Right.
Because they really do some more interesting things with the adult. But hey, listen, when they sit on the adults a little bit more, when the grown folks talking, there's a lot more compelling stuff that happens with that. You know, you don't always have to see the superhero side of it. Like I liked it with Josh Duhamel and Leslie Bibb as his wife. I forgot her superhero name.
Lady Liberty.
Lady Liberty. You know, there's moments where they're just at home, drinking wine, cooking dinner, discussing the kids. You know, Uncle Beardy, whatever. I like the way they all got like square dicks down there. But he's coming by for a visit. I tell you, I liked his interaction with the kids more, the uncle. Mm-hmm. But even then, that was like very limited. But I like those things right there, man. With them, they go do some flashbacks. And when they do the flashbacks in here, it becomes like a really beautiful period piece. Mm-hmm. It's with the onset of the Great Depression. And they, and of course, at that moment, this is before they get their powers, and you really get to see this show that doesn't even feel like a superhero show sometimes. You know, it's them it's a drama about them dealing with the Great Depression as wealthy businessmen. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of cool to see that. I think Josh Duhamel does a great job as playing. His name is Stephen Sampson, I believe, but he's the
Sheldon Sampson.
Sheldon Sampson.
Shelley.
Hey, Shelley boy, you're the bee's knees. But he's the utopian. And I like, the Superman of that world. And I think Josh Duhamel does a great job at playing a younger version of himself and also playing like the old, tired of these kids and tired of like grizzled version of himself. His voice has even changed a little bit. He's great. Leslie Bibb, who's the guy that plays
the uncle?
The uncle. Is that Ben
Walter?
Daniels?
I don't know.
Uncle Walter. I think it's Ben Daniels. He's also great. I like him as the uncle. Even though and we said this before, he looks just like the Dos Equis guy.
Oh, wow.
Man in the world. I was
a little longer, yeah. Just went naturally white. Yeah.
I thought that was his power, drinking beer and going out having adventures and shit.
Is that actor Irish, by the way?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I wanted to ask because it felt like his accent was constantly coming out to me.
Yeah, it seemed like some
show.
kind of accent was slipping in there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to hold it against. I just noticed that, especially in the period piece scenes.
Yeah, I was like, the makeup. I kind of like the makeup in this. You can tell it's makeup.
It's funny because at first I didn't like it, but the more it went on, I was like, well, this is actually kind of good.
You're just used to watching it at that point. I had an issue with the makeup. It felt like they had like just pancake stuff, and like there was some of it that was like on one side of his face, and it looked really crusty. The other side was just smooth, and that's like a good shot. I mean, that's what they put out for press and everything. Yeah, I felt a lot of the makeup. Honestly, overall, this show just feels like it had a little bit more of a budget than the CW show.
The makeup looked decent on everybody. And I ain't saying like there ain't no racist nothing. I ain't saying because of the black dude, but I will say the character Mike Wade or the Flair, they made his makeup look bad. First of all, they did that brother wrong. Everybody got to be like old superhero badasses, and they put that nigga on a wheelchair.
He's Mantis, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, put him in the wheelchair. They cooked they cooked half of his face, and then they put that Tyler Perry wig on him.
Everyone has bad wigs in this.
Not as bad as that one right there, though.
Bad.
And I just like, God damn, boy, y'all didn't have to put him. They made him the smart dude. Smart dude in a wheelchair. Put them glasses on him.
Always the guy in the chair.
Always the guy in the chair. They put them glasses on him. I gotta tell you, and his makeup worked the worst. Mm-hmm. It's like
you don't see it there.
Yeah, he looked at some girl and said, "Hey, young lady," I'm like, you ain't much older than she is, just because you got cotton balls in your hair right now. Because they don't look. I mean, maybe black don't crack. I don't know, but I was like, man, y'all didn't. You didn't even put no effort into this dude right here. I just didn't like all the stuff they're looking for Skull Island. They going
the supernatural mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, and because they got to go to this island to find what they're looking for, and the adults are doing that. And the reason why I don't like that is because they think it's an origin story about how they got their powers, and it's just stretched out way too much for me. I didn't like the whole. There's one character getting visions of a dead dad, and that could have been pulled back. There's constant flashbacks. They do all this up into the last episode. Yeah. And I'm thinking like, man, you know what? And they start whining more than the kids. They start like yelling at each other. Well, Daddy, he loved you more than me. And I'm like, man, y'all look.
It goes way back.
Yeah, it goes way back. First of all, this is like goddamn 90 years ago. And y'all, even back then when y'all were doing it, I'm like, man, y'all some grown ass people. Stop. And I actually understood why they did it. So that didn't bother me that much. It's played into the story. But for me, going back and forth throws the pacing off. I think that, especially when you see what it led up to, it's like, wow, that's it. And maybe that'll be more explained because you read the comics. It'll probably be more explained later.
Right. They actually sort of over-explain it here rather than they do in the comics. They leave a lot of it up to mystery and you just kind of fill in. So that makes me wonder if. Because I thought that was abrupt as well. And I was like, well, I wonder if in the second season they're going to go back to this and explain, this. Yeah. Because we jumped from D to M. And I was like, there's something. You don't just go like, well, once we in here, of course this happens. Like, no. It'd be good to fill some of that in. I don't need everything spoon-fed to me, but now that you brought it up, let's make this work.
Yeah, there's a lot that they do. Like they looking for, like I said, looking for this mystery. They're chasing windmills and circles and shit, and King Kong and and it's like I'm just looking. I'm like, man, this is okay. So to make this more narratively tight, I think this series would have benefited from taking us into the modern times in the beginning, and then with the second episode, maybe even third episode, you spend one episode, maybe one and a half of their flashback going to this island, finding their origins. Because believe me, when it comes to like what the reveal is, it's like we didn't need this much buildup for this.
Kind of like what Watchmen did in 2019, like that. They had that flashback episode, which was great, and explained all that. It's like, oh, cool. Now you have more context for it. That's what they should have done.
Because I thought maybe they would do it that way, and it was just like,
nope.
Oh, we're into a new episode, and we still got, okay. Invincible was 8 episodes, and they did so much in those 8 episodes. Mm-hmm. And the problem with this is too stretched out. It's a weird thing because we complain about Netflix having 13 episode seasons, and it's like, man, y'all stretch this out too much. It's padding. And they're like, all right, we'll reduce it down to 8. All right. And they still had the same problem.
Yeah. I don't think 8 episodes is bad.
It's not bad,
I think
but it's what they did with it.
Yeah, well, I think they put too much emphasis on certain plots that didn't need it. And then certain subplots or plot lines or threads, they just didn't get enough attention. It's a good point you brought up about this whole thing with the code of the Union. I thought that could have been built up more. Because I thought that could have shown more conflict between the older and the younger generation and how they feel about this code.
Oh, they don't even go into that? Wow.
Well, they barely.
They do,
Not
just
enough.
not enough. But
Jesus.
I mean, it seems like it's weighted on the side of like, man, fuck the code. But within it, you can see how they'll turn it around and be like, yeah, that code is actually kind of important.
To that point, what I was thinking was, there are good points made for both, but they're not pushed enough for me. The code, and the way the show puts it, I think the effort is to try to make some sort of argument for both sides, but really that code is stupid. That don't make no sense. That code, it's naive to think that some of the most dangerous villains out there cannot be killed. It's called self-defense after a certain point.
Yeah.
And and it just made, like I said, it just made the what you call it, the
union.
the union. It just made, especially the Utopian, it just made them look stupid, man. You got a guy out there about to blow up half of the state, and you still talking about, no, don't kill him. I'm like, no, that don't make no sense at all. Oh,
Especially after he just killed 3 other superheroes.
Yeah, you just saw them murder 3 other people, and you just kind of like, but he's human too, or he's a person too. Once you get to a certain point, you are not a person, you are a weapon, and
Plus-
you have to be diffused.
Plus, if you're Superman, it's easy for you to say like, "Hey, everybody, take it easy. Don't go all the way." And I'm like, well, dude, I just throw batarangs. I gotta give it my all.
Well, they do even kind of comment on it because the guy's like, I have flaming fists. This is all I got. And we see what happens to him.
just like anybody, once you go off and you commit certain crimes, you lost your right to live. Nuclear? That motherfucker's a bomb at this point. He's not a living being. He's about to blow everybody. What does that help anything?
No.
And I just thought, and see that they never made the show. I don't think the writing was good enough to where they made an argument for that, other than you just old and you don't know, you got this code and you just sticking to it. There was never argument made on the Utopian side for me to think like, oh yeah, maybe you're right. I was like, no, you're an idiot. That's what you are.
But would have been great if the son said, like, he argued his side, the reason why I did it. That would have been good to see. And then it would have been more conflict, like an actual cool conflict with the dad, other than you weren't there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he does. I mean, well, it gets argued. Like, what do you want him to do? Let you die? And he's like, well, you still don't kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're not very good arguments in the
Okay,
movie.
you don't kill. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah, there were not any good arguments being made here. Really, on either one of them. Because dad was just kind of like, you don't kill son, and son's like, well, boy, what'd I say? Yes, sir. Daddy made me mad again. I mean, you know what? I do think, contrary to what a lot of people believe, I do think the fight scenes are fun because some of them are taken right out of a comic book panel. I think they're meant to look that way. Now maybe they're so comic bookish that they, given the more adult material here, they might look out of place. But I like them. It was one of the few times that they were having some real fun with this. The fight scenes look kind of cool, and they had some humor with it too. And some of the powers were really cool. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But some of the fight scenes were just fun.
Would you like some cake while we're waiting? I am God. And you are
That fool really wanted some cake. Bitch, don't you ever bring dessert to a fight? you didn't know the power of that cake, did you? I don't want to go against something where everybody's having fun with this, or some people actually liking this, because this looks like, after reading the chat over here, it looks like some people are kind of split. It looks like some people really are enjoying it, and some people it wasn't my thing.
Yeah, if you like it, you like it. If you dislike it, you dislike it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Like I said, there were cool things in there, man. There's one, because I might not like, when I say the kids, I'm talking mostly about the Utopians kids. There were some other younger characters in there that I liked. I like the character of Hutch.
Yeah.
Hutch just has a cool
Scott
thing.
Fox's son.
Yeah, he's got no powers, but he's got a cool dildo, a rod, or something.
Teleporting rod.
Yeah, the cosmic rod.
Yeah, cosmic rod, man. That fool just says something. And I like the way it goes, because he just says something, and it just, whatever he thinks of, it takes him there.
Hey!
Dropped all that crystal meth.
Start snorting.
You just got through seeing Walter White, all that blue shit down there.
I know you.
Oh yeah, that's some good shit. I like the way my man said it. He wanted to get away from that bitch so bad. He's like, Idaho. He said the first thing that's on his mind. Shit, I don't know, fuck Idaho. Shit, get the fuck out of here.
Take me to a state that nobody wants to be in.
Shit, Idaho, Waco, Texas.
What they did with that, like, okay, you have a limited budget, do something that's surprising. And they do some stuff that I didn't even expect. They added an element with him, with that whole magic rod of his. I was like, okay. It was both effective for expanding his character, but also just some really cool little sci-fi scenes. I thought they were nice.
To my, again, like I just don't want to. I'm thinking I'm asking a lot out of these characters because this is another guy. He has issues with everybody, but that character was fleshed out.
Yeah,
that character was well written, and I felt like I had more to see with that character. That character, he was funny. There was something going on with him.
Well, he's got his own daddy issues, but they aren't weighing down his character.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot more going on to him. He was not one note, and the people that he and he's not a good guy. None of the people he hangs out with, he's a criminal. But you know what? But I enjoyed him because I'm not asking that. I don't care if you're whiny. I don't care if you're a brat. I don't care if you're a bitch. I don't care if you're, if you're a criminal. You gotta have some layers to you. You gotta have some texture to you. And there's nothing that was going on with those other characters. This character that was, every time he was on the screen. I don't know that actor's name, but he's very good. Somebody chat said Black Zac Efron. Black Efron. Let me see here. Yeah, Pete, but I really did enjoy this with him in there, as far as that character goes. Ian Quinnan is his name, right? At least that was what I read right there. Anyway, enjoyed that actor very much.
I'll say, people have always asked me, and I think us, what's going to be the thing that will finally sink the superhero genre? And what I've always said time and time again, it's not going to be like one thing. It's going to be many things. It's going to be uninspired and just consistently bad superhero properties coming out one after the other. Like, that's what's going to finally do it. But it's stuff like this that's coming out where it just feels kind of all uninspired. It's like we're already seeing versions of this thing that I think are just doing everything better than this show is doing. I'm not saying this is the worst thing ever. This is the worst superhero adaptation. It's just kind of there. Just kind of exists, and it just of the 3 episodes I watched, I did not watch all of this. Josh Duhamel, I think, of all the actors, I'm not even a big Josh Duhamel fan. I think they actually gave him a lot to do, and I like what he was doing in it. The gentleman you brought up before, who plays the character of the little teleporty stick, I thought he was fun. Like, that was I think some of the humor that was working in the show was with him. But overall, I mean, everything in the show feels like it's aping, whether it be The Boys, whether it be Invincible, whether it be Watchmen. I just don't think it manages to match those things. To me, it's just a slightly better CW show, and I'm kind of done with those. So, yeah, I don't know if I can give this a rating right now, but I don't particularly care for it.
What would you rate the first 3 episodes you saw?
I give it like a high rental.
High rental, okay. All right.
Okay. Well, it is one where it's not, I don't think it's as good as what we've seen lately, but we've seen some phenomenal stuff lately, and I expect there would be that drop off at some point. I don't think it's that deep of a drop off. I think it's slightly. I mean, it's certainly better than CW shows. And if you think it's only slightly, it's because you haven't seen CW shows in a while.
Fair enough.
But it's below, say, the Umbrella Academy. I'm in it enough to want to go. All right, let's see where you go from here. Mistakes were made, especially with the pacing, and it's the kind of thing where with the second season they could totally tighten it up. They could change direction. I know just what I know about the story. There's a lot more intense things that are coming up. So it's all going to be about how they handle that. But for what it was, an adaptation of the comic where they did do what you have to do in an adaptation is make it for the medium that it's for. So yeah, for me, this was kind of a matinee.
Yeah. Just to add some things in there real quick. So this ends with a cool twist. Well, it's cool depending on how invested you are in the show. Like if you already weren't into it, the whole thing was mediocre to you. It ain't gonna mean shit, to be honest. So, it's gonna depend on how you feel about those other 7 episodes. But A twist was enough to make me wonder, all right, what's going to happen the next season? But I'm not looking forward to the season with any kind of excitement. I'm not looking forward to it with any kind of urgency at all. I think I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this is not solving anyone's superhero fatigue. This for some people, this will only add to it. This is a hard sell to people who love superheroes, and this is a very hard sell to people who don't want to see superheroes. It's not going to turn you around. You know, it's not going to be the one that make you go like, wow, all right, I was wrong all along. It's not going to be the one that you tell people who love these kind of comic book stories, hey, man, you got to watch this. It's in a very, 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 very middle ground. Some interesting things happen, but man, the way I was telling you, the way they keep spending so much time on some of these stories are subplots that add nothing. Those interesting moments are spread very far apart. It doesn't help that it's held back by more annoying characters than interesting characters. Now, I'm speaking for myself here, of course, and I have not read the comic like you did. So maybe if I read the comic, it'll fill in some places for me. Maybe if I see the second season, season 2, this is something that will actually make me feel like, all right, you know what, it's picking up, as some shows tend to do. But as a season on its own right now, the premiere season, it's just a rental for me. I'm not, with Disney about to come out with a whole bunch of other stuff at this moment, my schedule is full. Loki's right around the corner. Black Widow's about to come out, and then there's some other properties. We're going to get another Boys. We're going to get Invincibles at some point. So, I mean, these are things that I'm looking forward to. This is just like, at best, if you really are jonesing for a Cape Crusader or a superhero adventure, this might be something to fill the gap. This might be a nice appetizer until the next superhero thing comes along.
Until you get the thing that you really want.
That you really want.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because timing-wise, had it come out before all this other stuff, it'd be praised higher. It'd be looked upon higher.
Probably.
At the same time, timing, okay, it's in between Disney shows, so now is the time to come out. Because if there were Disney shows on right now, yeah,
people skipping this.
Yeah, you'd watch the first episode and go like, nah.
Yeah.
You got to the party too late, and that party was full of beautiful people. You ain't ugly, but ain't nobody looking at your ass right now. Ain't nobody trying to get your number. Ain't nobody trying to hook up with you at this point. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe this will be something. Like I said, who knows. It's always has the benefit of listening to the criticisms and picking up in season 2. Maybe there's some better storylines. Who knows? We'll see. Yeah.